I'm asking you all to bear with me just a little bit longer as I invite our beloved and effervescent Mr. Father Leslie Tankai as he leads us in prayer, because without God, there's nothing, so we need him in this place. All right? Okay.
Gracious and loving God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for life. We thank you, God, for our graduates, their families. We thank you for our teachers. Lord, we thank you for their successes thus far, and we give you thanks for their ongoing learning. Lord, we ask your blessing upon each of our graduates and in their future endeavors. Lord, continue to pour out your grace, your blessings, and your mercies upon each of them. And Lord, as we enter into this phase of new beginnings, as we enter in this time of celebration, we ask your blessing in our afternoon's proceedings. Lord, be with us in the power of your Holy Spirit, and may all things go in accordance to your will as we give glory, honor, and praise and thanksgiving to your holy name. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you so very much, Father Tankai. And ladies and gentlemen, parents, grandparents, friends, aunties, everybody, you may have your seats. As well as my graduates, you all may have your seats as well. You look very lovely this afternoon, handsome and beautiful. Give them a round of applause. I was making sure and get my high fives and thing before we come in, so we hype for this afternoon. Right, so my students, I believe we have all found our spaces. No musical chairs, right? So we could have our seats. There we go. So firstly, allow me to do my salutations. To the chairman of the Roman Catholic Board, Dr. Trevor Garcia. To the principal of the Scarborough Roman Catholic Primary School, Mrs. Anne-Marie Bishops-James. To the feature speaker that we'll have today, you'll see that face all over, I'm sure. Miss Afia Giles Baines, looking quite lovely. To Tutor Tobago officer, Mr. Braden Roberts. To President of the Parent Teachers Association, Mr. Kwesi Devines. To the teachers, faculty and staff, parents, well-wishers, aunts, grannies, specially invited guests, members of the media, and of course, the most important people that are here today, the reason why we are here, to my graduates, to our graduates, good afternoon, everyone. Now, I'm coming off stage. I thought this was an auspicious occasion, is it not? How y'all feeling? Nah, I know, we feeling great. How y'all feeling? Great. Right, I'm gonna take that and we're gonna go in church, right? So, good afternoon, everyone. I will never get over that. So it is my esteemed pleasure and honor to be here today. My name is Ryan McCool. I am, just to say a little bit about myself, I'm a television producer with the Department of Information under the Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, known in the fraternity of news and other realms of vermiculturists, and the list goes on. But none of that is important. You know what is important? Most important thing, I am a past student of Scarborough RC. That's most important. And it's most important for me because this is full circle now. I'm so happy to be here because, telling of the age, I don't know, I don't want to go with telling of the age, but my teacher at the time when I was in Standard 5, and I see most of my teachers still here, so good afternoon to all the teachers, past teachers as well. You know, once an educator, always an educator, all right? My teachers, I remember them, and I'm here today to now speak to you, the graduates, and instill some of the teachings, the wisdoms that were passed on to me, that I will pass on to you, and later in years to come, you would also pass it on. Yeah? Correct? You all good? You sure? All you feeling excited? Yeah. All you looking excited. All right? So, right. Right, so to get along with the program, right, so first bringing greetings on behalf of the Catholic Education Board of Management would be Dr. Trevor Garcia, and I want you to give him a nice hearty round of applause. He's a wonderful gentleman, wonderful personality, great character. He tried to trick me by thinking he doesn't have good character, but he has great character. So the round of applause that he accumulated. So, Dr. Garcia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Representative of the Division of Education, Research and Technology, School Supervisor 1, Mrs. Allen, Principal of the Scarborough Roman Catholic Primary School, Mrs. Anne-Marie Bishop James, dedicated teachers of the Scarborough Roman Catholic RC School, Father Leslie Tankai, our parish priest of the Scarborough Roman Catholic Church, representative for the minority leader, Ms. Nikisha Reed, representative for tutor, Mr. Braden Roberts, representative for the Parent Teachers Association, Ms. Roxanne Haling, parents, guardians, grandparents, specially invited guests, media, and especially to you. I wish I could see your faces. So if you could tilt your head to look at me, because I'm here to address you for a short while. Congratulations to you. And good afternoon, everybody. Sounds like I'm in class here teaching. Yes, I still teach. Now, I am here to extend greetings and congratulations to you, the graduates, and all the stakeholders in the education system. But before I do that, I want to let you know, I want to say congratulations to every single one of you. And I'm going to start from the third choice, congratulations. The second choice, congratulations. The first choice, congratulations. And I purposefully started with third choice because I passed for my third choice. And I think I did okay-ish. A little kind of okay. So whether you pass for first, second, third, fourth, 10th, whatever, all schools are waiting for you to develop into excellent people in the sphere of life. All schools are good. There's no bad school. So you are going out there. You will meet new friends. You will meet different kinds of teachers from your primary school. But go out there and work hard. So now I get to it. On behalf of the Catholic Education Board of Management in the Archdiocese of Port of Spain, Trinidad, and from the School Management Advisory Committee here in Tobago, I want to congratulate you on your achievements and wish you all the best in your new life in the secondary school. I thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Garcia. We still out there? We feeling good? Yes, yeah, I hear my students. What about the parents? Parents, how we feeling? Feeling good? Yeah, man. That's what we're talking about. All right. So now, please, Put your hands together as I invite the president of the Parent Teachers Association to bring remarks, Mr. Kwesi Devines. Okay. All right. My apologies. We have our representative, which is Ms. Roxanne Haley, who will fill in his absence. All right. Apologies.
Sure. Pleasant good afternoon to all protocols observed. Thank God for each and every one of us here, first and foremost. Without God, nothing is possible. I bring you greetings on behalf of our PTA president, Mr. Kwesi Devines. Graduates, congratulations, you have made it this far. God has brought you all this far, and I want to tell you all, there's a journey that is before you all that God is going to guide and protect you through to go yet further. So I wish to adopt the protocol previously established. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and blessing to the graduate class of 2024. It is with immense pride and heartfelt grace that I stand before you as the representative of our Parent Teachers Association President, Mr. Kwesi Devines. He extends his deepest apologies for not being able to be here with you today. Is unavoidably, right? Today, we gather in joy and celebration as we honor the 70 remarkable graduates of Scarborough Roman Catholic School. Our theme, Gratitude Precipitates Blessings, is not just a phase, but a powerful truth that we have seen manifest in each of your lives. Gratitude is the key that opens the door to endless blessings, and today we celebrate the blessings that your hard work, perseverance, and faith have brought forth. First and foremost, we thank Almighty God, His unwavering love and guidance. It is through His grace that we have been able to journey through this academic year, growing not only in knowledge, but also in spirit and character. Remember, dear graduates, to always seek God's wisdom and give thanks in all circumstances, for a grateful heart attracts divine favor. To all dedicated teachers, your commitment to nurturing these young minds has not gone unnoticed. You have planted seeds of knowledge and virtue, and today we see the fruits of your labor. We are deeply grateful for your efforts and for the level you have shown to our children. To the parents and graduates, your support and to the parents and guidance, your support and sacrifices have been the foundation upon which these children have built their dreams. Your unwavering belief in their potential has propelled them to this momentous occasion. Thank you for being their rock and their inspiration. To the graduating class of 2024, you are the embodiment of our hopes and dreams. As you step into the next chapter of your lives, carry with you the lesson of gratitude and faith. In moments of triumph and challenge alike, remember to pause and give thanks. Gratitude will not only enrich your own lives, but will also inspire and uplift those around you. May your future be filled with abundant blessings, guided by the light of gratitude. As you embark on new adventures, may you continue to grow in wisdom, grace, and love, and remember, the world is a better place because of each of you. Congratulations, graduates. May God bless you and keep you always. As I close, I have one request in all of the excitement and celebrations. If you forget everything else that was said today, please, I ask you to remember Thessalonians 5:16-18. Rejoice always, pray continually, thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Haling. Now I would invite Tutor Tobago officer, Mr. Braden Roberts. Put your hands together for him.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me say good afternoon, all. Permit me to recognize Dr. Trevor Garcia, Father Tankai, Principal and staff of Scarborough RC School, our featured speaker, parents, guardians, well-wishers, graduating class. Once again, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to represent the association in bringing greetings to this year's 2024 graduating class. And with the theme, gratitude precipitates blessings, it's a great mindset to have. There's also the saying that the lessons come before the blessings. And there will always be challenges as you go through life. And with primary school, where we set the first set of the foundation for the future of our young ones, it's indeed critical that we continue to give the efforts that our teachers have been given, parents that you continue to give that effort in ensuring that as they move forward to secondary school, the efforts that were given in primary school, it's not in vain. Sometimes we are quick to let go of the hands of our young ones because they have graduated and they are now big boys and girls. That will be one of the grave mistakes to make. If we see what is happening in society today, we need to hold our young ones even closer. The lessons are something that we should all embrace. They will come. With all the best plans, various things would happen. And I would always reference THA's goal to make Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. But for that to happen, we all, the people, have to be great. And for us to be great, we need to have big dreams. So parents, have our young ones dream big, support them. Things will go wrong, but with the confidence of the backing of their parents and the household, they will see all those challenges as blessings and they will only get stronger. It's also said that calm seas don't create great sailors. So let's embrace the tough times and with the mindset of seeing those things as something to be grateful for, great things will come out of this graduating class. So on behalf of the association, supporting the teachers, supporting the parents in ensuring that our future is in good hands, I wish you all a great graduation.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Roberts. That's my old teammate. We used to play football with Sinclair's coaching school, and we used to play against each other sometimes. And you heard the words he said? Great. I would always use that word, great, right? You're supposed to be, what do you want to be? You kids know? You're not sure yet? Wherever it is, just put great in front of it, right? So for now, we'll say great. What you want to be? What you're going to be? I ain't hearing you because I'm deaf. What you going to be? Right. That bypass Braille, all right? So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, we're going to have a little bit of entertainment by some of our students because Scarborough RC is a dynamic school, multi-talented, multifaceted, and we do so many things. So we're going to have some students here, a part of a band they call the Speechifiers. So please give them a rousing round of applause. I ran out of synonyms, all right, as they come to entertain us.
Oh, hi. This indeed a one special occasion, as me could see, cause people that here just up in their frock and their dungaree. So let me rewind and start all over again. A pleasant good day to my dear friends. Good day to one and all. We're here to celebrate this 2024 SRC graduation. We here are your car. We come out here today for this splendid forest celebration. We speech them in too long, saying I get no frustration. So drag your bow, mister. Let me hold that one time. Let me turn one and talk about it. Let me hold that one time. Let me turn one and talk about it. Oh, hi. People just talk because they ham out, but all I just want them to do is bad talk me and buy me out. Is what them ain't say is what them forget, but this institution stands to be one of the best. It's high jump, long jump, gymnastics and ballroom thing. Legislator, creative writing, spelling and chess we beating. Blended in academy and cultural prestige, a little later on in the session, you're gonna see what I mean. So drag your bow, Mr. Let me hold that one time. Let me taste what I took over it. Let me hold that one time. Oh, Mr. Fiddler. Oh, hi. Well, the teachers up there in Standard 5 was under some pressure, was booklet correcting and hardly any leisure. So, as we all assemble here today, let's especially thank them by saying hip hip hooray. The teachers and students work hard as one. So now it's time for them to have some epic fun. So drag your bow, Mr. Let me hold that one time. Let me curse one and talk about it. Let me hold that one time. Let me Mr. Fiddler. Oh, hi. We have to leave, cause today ends with day. It's the graduating class own, so we don't want to take the shine away. Congratulations to you all as you have reached another stepping stone. Hard work truly has its rewards, so remember that as you step into the unknown. So drag your bow, Mr. Let me hold that one time. Let me taste what I took about it. Let me hold that one time.
Yes, another round of applause for Speechifiers, students of Scarborough RC. I'm going to take this time to boast on one of my friends. I see in the stands there, Camilla. You see where I get my cultural appreciation from, right? There was this one time when I was in Standard 5, right, kids? They took me and they carried me to Heritage to do the reel and jig. They didn't carry me back, so probably I wasn't too good. Long story short, I'm now the host of some of the programs for the Tobago Heritage Festival, right? So it all starts somewhere. Well, I don't know if you want to clap that. You can clap that if you want. But we good so far? Everybody good? You good? Okay, good. Niceness. All right, so at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring the captain of the ship. All right, you see the way the little boats on the head? The captain of the ship. We're going to have bringing remarks, the principal's remarks, right? Which would be the principal of the school, Mrs. Anne-Marie Bishops James. So put your hands together for her. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Are you happy, children? Okay. Psalm 118, verse 14. Representative of the Minority Leader, Ms. Nikisha Reed. School Supervisor 1, Ms. Gina Allen. Chairman of the School Management Advisory Committee, Dr. Trevor Garcia. School Manager, Father Leslie Tankai. Featured Speaker, Ms. Afia Giles Baines. Tutor Tobago Officer, Mr. Braden Roberts. Representative for the Parents Teachers Association, Ms. Roxanne Halen. Dedicated teachers and ancillary staff. Special invited guests. Parents, graduates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to warmly welcome you to the Scarborough RC School Graduation Ceremony 2024. Our theme this year is Gratitude Precipitates Blessing. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 18 says, "In everything give thanks, for it is the will of God in Christ for you." Do you believe that, children? Okay, I don't want you sleeping, right? You look so beautiful today. It's a beautiful day. Gratitude is a powerful emotion that goes beyond simply saying thank you. It involves recognizing the positive aspects of our lives and appreciating the roles others play in those moments. Gratitude precipitates blessings. Remind us that an attitude of gratitude has the power to attract and magnify the blessings in our lives. As we reflect on this journey, we see that gratitude has been a cornerstone, enriching our experiences and guiding us to this moment of triumph. Graduates, you have contributed significantly to our school in all areas: sports, academics, co-curricular activities, creative arts, and many more. Your contributions have helped us to continue to be one of the distinguished schools in Tobago. We are grateful that you were part of the Scarborough RC family, and you will always be part of us. We thank you. Graduates, you have faced countless challenges and overcame numerous obstacles to reach this point. Your success is not solely your own, but it is intertwined with the support and encouragement of those around you, your parents, teachers, and spares. Is that true? Could you have done it alone? Right. So always say thank you. Graduates, remember, it is through acknowledging and appreciating these connections that you will truly embrace the depth of your blessings. You may be feeling disappointed. Some of you may not have been assigned the school of your choice. You may be feeling disappointed. Remember, an attitude of gratitude will see you through. Do you believe that? Graduates, let me caution you. Do not let your faith rest on social media approval, because we live in the times of likes and loves. But I want you to assure you that you are fearfully and wonderfully made by God, and you are God's masterpiece. I want you to stand this afternoon. All of you stand, and I want you to say this after me. I want to hear you. I am fearfully and wonderfully made by God. And I am God's masterpiece. Do you believe that? Right, and you know God will always be working with you. Right? So you are God's masterpiece. And you go and you believe that. Don't let anybody define who you are. Right? You are now going to be on a new path. God is with you. You may sit. Thank you. According to Lily Tompkins, the road to success is always under construction. I want you to say that with me. The road to success is always under construction. That means there will always be challenges or obstacles on your path to success. These will make you stronger. Remember, gratitude is the gateway to your blessings. Parents, continue to support and listen to your children. Some of you may be scared based on what is happening at some of the secondary school, but you have the power to change the outcome. Know who your children's friends are. Get involved in the School Parent Teachers Association and be active parents in the school. Pray with them, talk to them, discipline them when necessary. When it is challenging, God will always make a way. Graduates, always do your best, no matter what life obstacles you may face. Believe in yourself. Treat others how you wish to be treated and keep moving forward. Keep God in everything and He will guide you. Remember, gratitude has the power to attract and magnify your blessings, and God always make a way. Be grateful. I will now share a song with you.
Closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way.
Yes, graduates, when you get into difficulty, remember who will make a way. I'm not hearing you. Do you believe that? Very good. Congratulations, class of 2024. We are extremely proud of you. And remember, you can do all things through? Again, I can do all things? Through Christ who strengthens me. And hard work has its reward. Keep pressing on. Follow your dreams. Thank you.
Another round of applause for the principal of Scarborough RC, Mrs. Bishops James. All right, so what's the theme? What's the theme? Let me hear it. What's the theme? Say it louder for me. And you're sure you understand what that means, right? You sure? It look like we have an idea, but we ain't too sure just yet. All right, I'll give you a little hint. Give you a little hint? Now, permit me to speak to the graduates. I could speak to them? Thank you so very much. So, gratitude precipitates blessings. One of those simple things, simple acts that you do, right? Just simple acts that brings gratitude. Let me show you a very simple one. You see, when you get up in the morning, don't be drowsy and upset and worrisome. And you don't do that. When you get up in the morning, you're supposed to be grateful that you're alive because so many people not able to open their eyes. And also, don't complain and quarrel and fight down. You want to know why? You all know why? That is saying prayers to the devil. You know that? When you worry, you express a lack of faith in the Almighty God. Father Tanka, are you making sense? All right, I got a thumbs up so I could go ahead. Right? So basically, now these are the words of one of my mentors growing up through life. His name is Robert Nesta Marley. You all wouldn't know who that is, but you would know him as Bob Marley. Right? And he has a song that says, when you wake up every day and you complain, you're saying prayers to the devil, I say. We're not giving him power. So we're going to give God power all the time, right? All the time. Yeah? All right. So once you have life, you have hope. And once you have hope, you have love. And once you have love, you have God. And once you have God, you have everything. That is enough. Make sense, Father Tankai? I stole that from Miguel Collins, a.k.a. Sizzler. Thank you so very much. So I'm a Scarborough RC student. We know how to do things. We know how to do things. All right? So at this point in time, I will call on, my Standard 5 teacher, Mrs. Louisa Charles. She's going to help me out. You know, put your hands together for her. One of our Standard 5 teachers, always very involved. So she's going to help me out right now, and she's going to take over, probably even show me how to do this Master of Ceremonies thing, because we're just doing it, right? They're unsupervised. But anyway, please put your hands together for her.
Pleasant afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to stand on the protocols that have already been established. I am Ms. Louisa Charles, Standard 5 teacher of this distinguished institution. And it is indeed my pleasure this afternoon and my honor to introduce to you our featured speaker. Mrs. Afia Giles Baines is a versatile communications professional who brings a fresh perspective to the field. As the holder of a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology and a Master's in Business Administration, Afia stands well equipped to combine the science of the mind and the art of strategy with the power of effective communication. With over a decade of experience, Her career spans both public and private sectors across various industries. These include her stint in the airline industry as a coordinator at Virgin Atlantic Airways, and her invaluable contribution to government services as an advisor, business administration professional, and communication specialist. Mrs. Giles Baines describes her style as being that of a communicrafter and says that collaboration is at the heart of her approach. Whether she's leading a team, presenting to stakeholders, or engaging with clients, her unique blend of behavioral insight and business savvy ensures that her recommendations are not just heard, but truly understood and acted upon. Afia expertly balances her personal life as a wife and mother of 3, with her current professional roles as news anchor at Tobago Channel 5 and Senior Research Associate at the Ministry of Sport and Community Development. Mrs. Giles Baines opines that in a time where effective communication is more crucial than ever, one of her main goals throughout her professional journey remains to use her authentic voice to create meaningful connections, build bridges where there are barriers, inspire action, and drive positive change. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together as we welcome our featured speaker, Mrs. Afia Giles Baines.
Thank you very much, Miss Charles. For a moment, I was wondering who's she talking about, boy? Like the very talented specifiers, today is not my day. My time is just a bit more than theirs, but I promise I shall not frustrate you. Deal? All right. So permit me to recognize Chairman of the Roman Catholic Church, Dr. Trevor Garcia, Principal of the Scarborough Roman Catholic School, Mrs. Anne-Marie Bishop-James, Parish Priest of the Scarborough Roman Catholic Church, Father Leslie Tanghai, Representative from the Office of the Minority Leader, Ms. Nikisha Reed, Tutor Tobago Officer, Mr. Braden Roberts, Representative of the Parent Teachers Association, Ms. Roxanne Halen, teachers, parents, well-wishers, specially invited guests, and the reason I asked for this cordless mic is because no parent is going to tell me they bring the child here good and they get stiff neck. So my wonderful graduates, good afternoon. Oh, they sound hungry. Good afternoon. That's better. Good afternoon, everyone. I am truly excited to be here on this special day to celebrate your hard work and your bright futures. But before we talk about your new adventures, let's talk about this morning. Now, I know they say results was coming out at 12 a.m., 12 a.m. So who was up at 12:01? Who was up at 12:03? I seen what? Show me the hand, show me this. Right. Because what did y'all get this morning? Results. Yes? All right. So, some of you may be a bit more happier than others. And to the ones that are happier, I want you to enjoy this feeling. Congratulations. I am extremely proud of you. But I want to talk to those who are less happy. Because I know that you may have had your heart set on a particular school, and going elsewhere may feel like a setback. But I want to remind you about something that is very, very important. You are all full of potential, and you're capable of achieving great things, no matter where you go. So I'm also very proud of you. You see, life has a very funny way of steering us in directions that we don't plan for, and often Those unexpected paths can lead to amazing opportunities and experiences. Just ask your parents, just ask your teachers. We've all been there. So the school that you end up attending may not be your first choice, but it could be the place where you find your best friends, discover new passions, and grow in ways you never imagined. And guess what? Today, God, in His wisdom, ensured that the theme for your graduation ceremony would be an applicable tool to help you in this very moment. That theme is gratitude precipitates blessings. So this simply means that when we remain thankful, even in the less happy times, we attract good things, positive things, blessings. So let's appreciate the opportunities that are still in front of us, support from our family and friends, the education that you received so far, and the new adventures waiting for you as we attract more blessings into our lives. Yes? All in already. Yes? Good. So I want you all to remember, it's not the name of the school that determines your success, but the hard work, the dedication, and the passion you put into your journey. So embrace this new chapter with an open heart and an open mind, and be ready to seize the opportunities that come your way. And always remember that you're all capable of greatness, no matter where you go. Yes? Right. So that's all out the way. So I want you to do something for me. The first thing, after 4, I want you to turn to the person next to you, give them a high 5, not a low 5. Listen to the instructions. Not a 10 either. Give them a high 5 and shout with all your might and all your confidence, "We did it." All you ready? I ain't say go, but what is it? All you really hungry in truth? Patience, patience, patience. All you ready? What is this all you're shouting? And after what? After 4, bright children. 3, 4. Excellent. The second thing I want you to do, I want you all to close your eyes. Close your eyes to me. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's go. In through the nose, out. I hear him snoring. Who's sleeping? I thought all you say, all you're hungry. Let's go again. Come on. In through the nose. Close the eyes. Close the eyes. I seen pretty eyes looking at me. Close the eyes. Out through the mouth. Now, I want you to think of one thing that you're grateful for. Close your eyes and breathe. One thing. There are no wrong answers. It could be a friend, family member, ice cream. It doesn't matter. One thing that you're grateful for. When I ask you to open your eyes, I want you to share that one thing with the person next to you. Open. Oh, let's just so in real bad. I can't hear nothing. I hear somebody say being alive. Excellent. You grateful for a whole paragraph. Tell me what you say. Being alive too. What else? Share it, share it. Passing for bishops. Congratulations. Yes. Yes. Wonderful. Such positive energy. Isn't it amazing just by thinking about what you're grateful for, it makes you feel warm and happy inside, yeah? You all have a different feeling now? Tell me the truth. No? Because all your excitement just went out the door. You passed for bishops and you're just good. How many of you all felt better? Show me by hands. Show me the hands. Now that you thought of something that was grateful, you felt grateful for it. Show me the hands. Okay, we have more people that felt better. All right, put your hands down, thank you. How about this? You guys like video games? Oh, all right, parents, we get through. They're listening now. So picture this. You're the main character, navigating through levels, filled with challenges, enemies, hidden treasures. Some days you're breezing through them levels like a pro. And other days, it feels like, you're stuck in the toughest boss battle. But in every great video game, there are items that give you a boost, right? Yeah, you know, something that always gives you that best advantage for the game. So a glowing magical tool that could give you super strength or extra lives or special capabilities, right? All right, so for the purpose of this talk, life is a video game and gratitude is your special power-up. We got that? All right. So let's think of gratitude like a cheat code. When you collect it, everything changes. Now suddenly obstacles that seemed insurmountable become manageable. Those pestilential enemies of doubt and negativity, they shrink in size and power. Gratitude helps you level up faster than you ever thought possible. Every level in life comes with its own set of challenges. Maybe it's a difficult class, a disagreement with your friends, or some sort of disappointment. Those are like the tricky surprises that attacks you in a game. But when you activate that power-up of gratitude, you start to see things differently. So that difficult class becomes an opportunity to learn and grow. And that disagreement with your friend is a chance to understand and for you to develop empathy. And that disappointment, well, it's a doorway to resilience and a new path. So gratitude is the lens that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences. When you discover what's hidden in that treasure chest that leads to blessings, you appreciate all the small things in life. These moments are the real bonuses that make the game of life worth playing. So when you focus on what you're thankful for, you unlock new levels of possibilities, happiness, and success. So everybody think of your favorite game. And in that favorite game, think of your favorite character. When you get to a boss level, what does the game do? Does the game give you an option to say, well, I can't beat that, so let me just put on the control? You have that option? You have that option? No, you don't have that option. What you have is a way to strategize, to find the power up, and to keep going. And in real life, you have that same ability. With gratitude, you build resilience and you recognize that every challenge is part of the adventure and every setback is a setup for your comeback. Yes? Now, I know as adults, we sometimes forget that you youngins are people too, right? Well, I don't feel like that sometimes. Tell me if this song familiar. What you have to worry about? You have no bills to pay? Anybody ever heard? I hear a yes over here, right? Yes, yes. Or you want to take a little sleeping on a Saturday and you hear, life in London must be nice. I know, or somebody say all the time, no Saturday you just get off? Come on, parents, man. They are people too. So I know that y'all are people too, and y'all will face challenges. But when you go through your own challenges, gratitude can help you reframe your perspective on how you deal with them, and even how the adults and your peers respond to you. So for example, when you're grateful to your teachers, you make their hard work feel worthwhile. And when you're grateful to your parents, you make them feel appreciated. When you're grateful to your friends, you make friendships stronger. And that domino effect of all that gratefulness is positive feedback from those around you and attracting good things your way. So it's important for me to tell you that being grateful does not mean that you'll never fail. Because remember, in those video games, when you collect all those power-ups, it doesn't mean that you're totally invincible, right? It's equally important for me to tell you that failing is part of success. You can fail on your way to success as long as you do not stop. Because if you stop, you would never know if you would have been successful. So in the times that we do fail, we can be grateful for the lessons that we learn to help us be better next time around. And when you find yourself in a difficult level of the game, remember to look for that gratitude power-up. Take a moment to appreciate what you have, the people around you, the journey you're on, And the boost you need to overcome those obstacles is gratitude. So, as you're about to enter secondary school, you may feel a bit anxious, nervous, a bit scared. No, I've seen people shaking. Tell me how you feel. How you feel? Excited. Nobody nervous? Some of us nervous. All right, so the excited ones, all your hush. And the ones who nervous, let me talk. Who nervous over here? Anybody nervous over here? You're nervous. We nervous. All right, so I'm talking to the nervous ones. So nervous ones, what's the power up? Well, you're not listening to me. Nervous ones, what's the power up? Remember, life is the video game, and what is the power up? Tell me again. Gratitude. The excited ones, when you get nervous, what is the power up? Gratitude. So at the new school, you'll have new challenges. You might have difficult subjects, awkward social dynamics, because you have to now find new friends. But gratitude is the power up. Every experience has something valuable to teach you. Now, I know I've been harping on being grateful in tough times, because often that's when we're most down on ourselves, yes? When we're disappointed in ourselves, it's kind of hard to get in a good mood. You all agree? Yeah? No? Tell me, yes? Yeah. But in truth, gratitude is not just for difficult times. It's for you to use when everything seems like it's going all right as well. And it's not just for you to practice silently. Because again, in your favorite game, when you share power-ups with teammates, you all play with teams? Online? Right. When you share, I get a thumbs up. Good. So when you share power-ups with teammates, what happens? Everyone benefits. So when you spread gratitude to those around you, it creates a ripple effect, making the whole game more enjoyable and rewarding for everyone. Let gratitude light your way in the face of challenges or setbacks, and in times of triumph and joy, reminding you to cherish every moment. So as you move on to high school, we already know life won't always go as planned, but that's okay, because it doesn't define your future. What defines you is how you respond. So use gratitude as your compass. It will guide you through the stormy days and help you appreciate the experience, the good and the challenging, with a thankful heart. Now, parents, I just want to leave a quick message with you of hope and encouragement. Parenting is no easy feat. It's also the most rewarding journey you'll ever take. So as your children enter secondary school, trust that you've equipped them with the necessary tools that they need to thrive. Keep nurturing their dreams, and remember, you are not alone. I know many of us come from varying circumstances. We have single parents. We have parents who are caring for their parents. We have parents who wear so many different hats. Find your tribe. Lean on each other when you have to. Seek support when you need it. And never underestimate the power of a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on. Cherish the laughter and the hugs and the kisses while you could still get it, because pretty soon you go here, I too big for that. And I get a real quick yes in the corner. Celebrate their successes, no matter how small, and help them find that silver lining in difficult times, because your example will be a beacon for them to navigate the path ahead. To the teachers, the unsung heroes, thank you for your dedication, your passion, and your tireless efforts to nurture the minds and hearts of our students. We know many of you are parents yourselves, and your balancing acumen is admirable. We are grateful. So my precious graduates, are you ready for your new adventure? Do we remember our secret power-up? And I saved this for last because this is the most important message of all. Every great video game has a brilliant designer behind it. Someone who meticulously crafted every level, every character, plot twist, everything. So today, you played along with my analogy of life as a video game. So we must be grateful for the creator of the game, God. He knows every challenge you'll face and every triumph you'll achieve. Recognizing God is crucial because we're reminded that we are not playing this game alone. We have a divine player too, who has our back. Without God, we would not even have the ability to be grateful or to receive blessings. So ensure that you have your own personal relationship with Him. And as you play this game of life, be intentionally grateful. Trust God and keep leveling up. So now I want you to make a promise to yourselves, but only if you agree. Ready to hear what it is? All right. I want you to promise to be grateful for at least one thing every day. We think we could do that? I'm not convinced. Think about it. I want you to promise to yourself, not for me, not for mommy, not for daddy, not for teachers, to yourself, that you will be grateful for one thing every day. We think we can do that? All right. So I want you to repeat after me. After 3, I promise to be grateful every day. We're ready? 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. Congratulations, graduates. You're ready to unlock the magic in your life because your gratitude will precipitate your blessings. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so very much, Mrs. Giles Baines. Another round of applause for our feature speaker. She looked quite lovely, looked like a Golden Globe Award, right? Yes, lovely. So, my students, we got the message, what you are sharing? Yeah? I have 2 more messages in my pocket, very short. I can pull them out? Pull them out? All right, I'll get permission to pull them out, right? So, piggybacking on what Ms. Giles Baines said, just be grateful for every moment. And while I say that, I'm asking you to even cherish this very moment. Every single moment that you have here. Make happy memories. This might be probably the last time that you're sitting collectively with your schoolmates, your classmates, your teachers. The very last time. So make the best of this moment because material things sometimes fade away, but memories rarely do. Unless you have dementia or Alzheimer's or something, right? So make the best of every moment and cherish it. You think you could do that? Have fun, eh? Enjoy it. Enjoy every bit of it, yeah? This is your moment, your milestone. Cool? We get that? All right, the second one. So everybody telling you all to be great today, right? Everybody saying to be great. Now, why so many people saying it is because to be great is sometimes a challenging thing. Because greatness, you know where greatness lives? You all know? All right. Greatness resides where most people are afraid to venture. That is why everybody is not great. Because you would have somebody telling you, you can't be this or you can't do that. But you will pick up and you'll go and do it. So you will venture into greatness. You understand what I just say? You sure? Or you're just saying, yes, sir, I was a teacher, you know, I know if I get the lesson, you know. All right. So greatness resides where most people are afraid to venture. And while I say that, I want to add an African proverb to that. The Africans have a proverb. They say, when the vultures surround you, don't die. Now, if you look at all the great men and women in history, they faced great adversity and turmoil. It's only because they were great, they were capable to overcome it. Now, greatness also comes with preparation. So, the same way that you prepared for your SEA exams, right? Greatness comes with preparation, and so does confidence. You get that? Because I'm telling you this, as you go on that road of greatness, it will not be a bed of roses. Most people wouldn't tell you that, but it will not be a bed of roses. You will reach some challenges, you will reach some difficulties, you will reach some hurdles, but keep on going. Keep on going, because why we need to keep on going? When the vultures surround you, don't what? Don't what? That's correct. So when you have the naysayers telling you you can't do it, you prove them wrong. When people come around you with the unhappiness, because they're ungrateful. You show your gratitude and you smile because smiles are free. Yeah? Unless you're a dentist. Anybody want to be a dentist? Oh? Who? By show of hands? Anybody want to be a dentist? I was trying to secure my future, but nobody wants to be a dentist. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on with the program. So we have another cultural item. And this time we have some young men coming to the stage, and they are also past students of Scarborough RC. So please put your hands together for Mr. Malik Young, Aidan Young, and Najeri Irvin. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, 10,000 apologies. I forgot to mention that this graduation ceremony is being streamed live via Tobago Updates. So you can get on the phones, tell friends, granny, or whoever abroad. It's both televised and it's on the internet, I believe, Facebook and YouTube. So it's Tobago Updates, and we are live. All right? So even if you blink, you went to the bathroom at some point, you could always go back and see it. All right? All right.
Parents, today I'm here to celebrate a momentous occasion, our little one's graduation from primary school. Can you believe it? It feels like just yesterday they were taking their first steps, and now look at them, ready to take on the world. Let's take a moment to appreciate all the hard work, the challenges, and the triumphs they've experienced over the past few years. From learning their ABCs to solving their first math problems, they've grown so much. Not just academically, but emotionally too. Remember those early mornings? Rushing to get them ready, packing their lunches and helping them with homework? All those moments add up to this day, their graduation day. It's more than just a ceremony. It's a celebration of their growth, resilience and determination. They have learned not just from textbooks,
enjoy that? Yeah, give them another round of applause. So you all enjoy that too? But I ain't see anybody get up and dance. Nobody wanted to get up and dance? All they under scrutiny? All they shy? Well, I don't know if you have the authority. I'm shy too. I'm under scrutiny. I have my past teachers there. I have family up in the stands. I have my boss in the back. I'm just as nervous as you guys, right? But don't worry, we're going to have some fun, yeah? Right. So a round of applause for Malik, Aiden, and Jerry. Wonderful. Past students of Scarborough RC. As always, a dynamic bunch. And of course, a round of applause for the teachers and all the aunts, uncles, and tutors who really mentor these kids. A round of applause for that. So, we good so far? We all right out there? Well, I know all are good, so let me check on them in the stands because I can't see. We good out there? All are sure? All believe that? All don't believe that? That'll make more noise on that end? All are good out there? That sound more believable? They need more? All right, my students are saying that you all need to make a little bit more noise because they feel like they're down here by themselves. So make some noise. That good now? We good? We good? All right, my bosses say I could go forward now, so we will proceed. Ms. Williams, yes, I could proceed? Yes. All right. So now, my MC job is quite easy today because I have a lot of help. We're going to have the presentation of certificates, but to do that, I would call on the Standard 5 teachers to assist. So at this point in time, we'll have the presentation of certificates, and of course, I'll have our wonderful Standard 5 teachers. Give them a round of applause. They were the ones that guided this lovely bunch of future generation of future leaders. So they will come and we'll have the presentation.
At this stage of the program where we shall find out what the children are being awarded for. Because you know at Scarborough, our children are not just good at academics, but they are also great in co-curricular activities. And so we start and to distribute these awards, we would like to invite Father Leslie Tankai, awarded for excellence in mathematics, creative writing, and he is one of the most disciplined students to have graced us. Next we have perhaps our most disciplined student ever from 2021-2024, Jarrell Campbell. Our very own Mikai Adams is up next, and Mikai is being appreciated for his excellence in language arts. He showed great academic improvement. He was consistent, persistent, He is one of our most prolific cricketers and footballers. Kyrie is being recognized this afternoon for his academic improvement and his participation in chess club. Kyrie Philip. Mr. Kijana Cadet for mathematics, creative writing. He is one of the most helpful students, at least to me. And he's also being appreciated for his participation in Cub Scouts and PAC. So we spoke about Mr. Campbell, and this young man also embodies great discipline. And this is none other than Kimari Williams. So Kimari is being recognized for his discipline and his athletic capabilities. Richard Reed. Richard joined us late, but became a wonderful part of our family. And Richard was one of the most consistent and persistent students, and he's also being recognized for participation in Cub Scouts. Thank you very much, Father. Next up, I would like to invite Dr. Trevor Garcia. And we are going to call on the ladies this time. Sakai Philip. And Sakai has excelled in the following areas: creative writing, one of our star footballers, and she is one of our most helpful students. Kalia Alfred, a creative writing queen, creative arts queen, girl guides, and be recognized for achievements in PAC. Sky Rochford, mathematics, language arts, creative writing, for being a consistent student. A cricketer, footballer, and excelling in PAC. Solange Grandison, an athletic queen, footballer, and PAC. Shadley Charles, Shadley is a consistent worker and one of our starring footballers. Shadley Charles. Kai Gordon. Let's hear it for Kai, one of our leading dead bowlers. Well done, Kai. Nia Charles. Language arts, creative writing, girl guide, one of our most disciplined students, and be recognized for achievements in PAC. Danae Philip. And Danae is a consistent worker. Well done, Danae. your seats. We continue with the boys. And we begin with Mr. Gabriel Garnier. And Gabriel has been one of the most dedicated Cub Scouts throughout his journey at Scarborough School. Sister Grace, please, will you join us to give these awards? And Jaim is being recognized for his participation in the chess club. We call upon Javaldo Kwashi next, and Javaldo is being recognized for excellence in mathematics, creative arts, athletics, chess club, and football. Liam Charles. He's being applauded for his performance in creative writing, his participation in Cub Scouts, and his overall academic improvement throughout his time here with us. Torian Murray, one of our staff footballers, and he is also being recognized for his participation in the chess club. Dre Henry, and Dre is being applauded for his football skills. Kyle Batiste is another one of our most dedicated Cub Scouts, and this afternoon we would like to recognize him. Jasain Ali, and Jasain is being recognized for his cricketing ability. And last but certainly not least in this row, we have Mr. Zion Cole, and Zion is being recognized for language arts. Sorry about that. Ethan Zaid Ali Samuel Devines. Mathematics, language arts, creative writing, football, and his participation in the chess club. Thank you, Sister Grace. Next, I would like to invite our past principal and the past teacher at Scarborough School, Mrs. Mary Rogers, to do this set of awards.
creative writing, the creative arts, football as well, Kalia Ramsey. Johnny Moses, another one of our budding netballers, and also in the area of creative arts. Peyton King, a disciplined young lady, and PAN recipient as well. Shea Betancourt, and we recognize her contributions in athletics. Rhea Williams, mathematics, creative writing, of being consistent, disciplined, and 4-H. Hasia Daniel, and we recognize Hasia for her academic improvement, as well as in the areas of creative writing and cricket. Alexandra Kumar, mathematics and or chess champion. Ngozika Wokolo, mathematics, language arts, creative writing, creative arts, chess, and PAN. Let's hear it for Ngozika.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Rogers. Next, I would like to invite Mrs. King Archie to the stage. Thank you, Mrs. Rogers. And we begin with Kimani Duke. And Kimani is being recognized for his achievement in creative writing, for being one of the most consistent and persistent students, and for his participation in the chess club. Next we have Jamai Balbosa. And Jamai is an avid and prolific footballer. Michael Hector. And Michael is being recognized for commendable performance in football, for being very helpful, and for being one of the best cricketers. Perhaps you know this name, but we advise you to look out for it in the future. And this is Mr. Ayele James. And Ayele has consistently made us very proud, representing us in athletics and football. Deshaun Taylor. Who knew Deshaun could act? But Deshaun is being recognized for his ability in the creative arts and for being a helpful student as well. Another gentleman who has made us quite proud in the sphere of athletics is Mr. Jonathan Williams. director. And Khalid has shown excellence in mathematics, creative writing, football, cricket, and as being a part of the chess club. David Williams Marty. He is being recognized for his performance in language arts and creative writing. Another name we should look out for in the sporting arena, Mr. Josiah Hills, who is best known for his tennis capabilities. He has shown great academic improvement as well, and he's also one of the most dedicated Cub Scouts. Thank you very much, Mrs. Archie. Next, I invite Ms. Phillips to the podium to distribute this next set of awards.
Ladies, let's go again. Faith Roberts. And Faith is being rewarded for her excellence in creative art and girl guide. Talia Paulson. For being one of our most disciplined girls, and also being recognized in the area of Girl Guide. Emily Williams. And here's the list: mathematics, language arts, creative writing, discipline, and Girl Guide. Emily Williams. Ariana Mitchell. And she's being recognized for her accomplishments in the areas of mathematics, language arts, and creative writing. Zia Cruikshank. She has shown academic improvement. She's a disciplined young lady, and she also excelled in the area of netball. Anna Beard, one of our famous footballers, and for showing academic improvement. Anna Beard. Kelly Henry. And Kelly is being rewarded for being a member of our chess club. Well done, Kelly. Donica Stewart. We have a list again. Mathematics, creative writing, for being consistent. Another budding footballer. Athletics, chess club, and PAN. And now we go to Miss Webster. And we recognize Miss Janai Webster's contribution in the area of Girl Guides. Janai Webster.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Phillips. I would like to invite Miss Ann Williams to join us on stage. Begin with Kalim Nus. Kalim is being awarded in the area of mathematics and for being a persistent and consistent student. Shael Pope. Shael has made great contribution to our school's chess club. Tyler Ned. And this afternoon, we would like to recognize Thailand's contribution to the Cub Scout movement. Tamari Moore, one of our most helpful students, not just to his peers but to his teachers as well, and he's also being recognized for his contribution to our cricket team. Dimitri Guy. Dimitri is also another helpful young man. Dimitri is an avid footballer and one of the most dedicated Cub Scouts. Daniel Murray, and Daniel is being recognized for his contribution to the chess club. Raheem Gill, our gentle giant, helpful young man, and being recognized for his contribution to the chess club. Asim is being awarded for being one of our most helpful students as well, and for his participation in the chess club. And Johan C. Grant. Johan C. has shown great persistence, and he is an avid and prolific footballer. Thank you very much, Ms. Williams. I would like to invite Mr. Philip Rothford to join us on stage to distribute this last set of awards.
Thomas. And Quinella is being recognized for her contribution in Red Cross. Thank you, Quinella. Amara DeLeon. Thank you, Amara, for being so helpful, for being consistent, for being a cricketer and a star footballer or star goalkeeper. Kashifa Ligal. And she is being awarded for her performance in mathematics. She's a wonderful footballer. She participates in Girl Guides and in pan. Willow Caruth. And Willow has shown remarkable academic improvement. Well done, Willow. Kayla Antoine. Another helpful young lady. And she is also being recognized for her participation in Girl Guide. Zaria Barry, another member of our chess club. Thank you, Zaria. Trenaya Wickham Allen. And we recognize her achievements in the following areas: mathematics, language arts, and cricket. Thank you, Trenaya. Saleh Shangi, for being a consistent student and for your contributions in Girl Guide. We thank you, Saleh. And last but certainly not least, Michaela Nichols. And Michaela is indeed one of our most disciplined young ladies. Thank you, Mr. Rajford.
So that brings us to the end of this set of awards. However, rest assured there is more coming. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
You want to make some noise again now? Yeah. Huh? Oh, the spotlight on y'all? Yeah, well, you're the stars of the show, you know. So the spotlight, you know, shine bright. Shine bright. And anybody try to dim your shine, what are you going to do? If anybody tries to dim your shine, what will you do? Brighten it more. Do like the sun. Tell them wear shades. You ain't come here to dim, right? You shine bright as you're supposed to. Okay? Make sense? Let us shine. Right. Was it Miss Rogers I saw on stage a while ago? But these teachers not aging. What's going on? I need the secret. Well, give me the secret, please. Yeah? But I want to say this, and boys and girls, I just want to say this, right? I want to tell them, now, parents, guardians, everybody, teachers. I know most of these boys and girls have interacted with them, some families, some have interacted in many different ways. One thing I want to say about them, right? I really want to say this from my heart. They are so well-mannered and so super cool. Please give yourselves a round of applause, parents and teachers. I truly appreciate that. That is so wonderful. They could be miserable, you know. Nothing is wrong with that. They're full of energy. But they're so well-mannered and so super cool. That's just simply a reflection of good parenting and good teachers. That's a great village. Great village. Round of applause for that. You know why I mentioned that? Because so much going on today and people just make excuses. Oh, it's so hard to raise children in this day and age. But look at them. What they're saying. Oh, give them some classes, please. Give them people some classes. All right? So, we ready to move on with the program? All ready? All sure? Well, let's set the spotlight on, all right? All right, so my graduating class of 2024, could you please stand? So ladies and gentlemen, this is their time. They will entertain you with a wonderful medley. You all ready? Yeah. Remember, shine bright, right? The stage is yours. The class of 2024.
Everything you've been
Well, I thought I was leaving all this sound. A round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you enjoy that? The real vibes, vibes and vibes and vibes. All right, so now you all may have your seats. That's what I was saying, the spotlight on all here. Shining bright. So thank you so very much. Give them another round of applause, please. I really, really enjoyed that. Blessings after blessings. I would tell Positive that you all did a very, very good rendition. Camilla, we will tell him, right? Make sure. Greetings. No problem. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, beautiful boys and girls, you all may have your seats when you're ready. Oh, you're most welcome. See, I tell you, they're so well-mannered. They are so well-mannered. You know, I helped Mr. Hamlet Gibbs coach Scarborough RC. The Scarborough RC win the Tobago. They were football champions, storytelling champions. Well, Scarborough RC does win everything. Everything. Track and field, everything. But we're humble about it because you know why? Humility is one of the traits of capability. You believe that? Well, you don't need to believe it's true. The more capable you are, the more humble you are. Yeah? Okay, cool. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to acknowledge the presence of the Secretary of the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Miss Zarisha Hackett, who is here. And she would also be joining us to bring greetings on behalf of her division. Now remember, folks, we are live via Tobago Updates, so you can be sure to phone a friend, tell somebody, share it, you know. If they're not here, they could definitely see. So here we have the Secretary of Education, Ms. Hackett.
Scarborough RC, good afternoon. Listen, if y'all know how far I came from just to show up here for you. Principal, where are you? Listen, I could not miss it for the world. And what a beautiful day to celebrate your matriculation out of primary school. The day you received your SEA results, yeah? And of course, consistently, the Scarborough Roman Catholic Primary School has been in the top 5 of Tobago, and your performance speaks volumes. Give yourselves a round of applause. Your theme, gratitude precipitates blessings, is certainly an apt one. And I know that you have a lot to be grateful for, and I appreciate the outpour of love, support, and dedication from the staff and principal of your esteemed institution. But of course, on a day like this, we must acknowledge you, our parents. Graduates, give your parents a round of applause. They are the wind beneath your wings, and they have been at your side from day one. Remember that infant one first day of school? Well, now you're about to embark on another leg of your journey, and we are here to celebrate with you. But parents, I just want to caution, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And so as they make their way on to secondary school, the same love, commitment, support, and effort you place into ensuring they look as beautiful and as handsome as they do today, we want a doubling down of that as they walk into the walls of one of the 9 secondary schools on this, the greatest little island on the planet. And so once again, I want to tell you how extremely proud I am of you. I'm here almost at the end, but I had to be here. I wasn't in a Scarborough RC graduation since my daughter graduated in 2018. So it's very good to finally be able to make some time to be here, to celebrate with you, and to show you how much we love and appreciate you. Scarborough Roman Catholic School, congratulations, class of 2024.
Yes, another round of applause for the Secretary of Education. Definitely a favorite amongst the students, as you can see. Students, we good? We good? We ready to proceed? Yeah. So we know the messages this morning. Gratitude precipitates. All right? So always be grateful for the good, be grateful for the bad. Because when the good, it pushes you forward. When you have bad, it's a lesson to learn. So there's always something to gain, right? Yeah? Remember, we're not waking up in the morning and grouse and fuss and quarrel, right? Nobody in P and we cornflakes. We good, right? All right, nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to call on these 3 wonderful young individuals, stars amongst shining stars. I'm looking for more introduction to give them, right? But they're such a wonderful 3 out of an extremely wonderful group. And now we'll have the valedictorian address by none other than Miss Kalia Alfred, Miss Kalia Ramsey, and Jashane Batiste.
colors? School days are meant to be remembered. Smile on my face as I remembered infant one, the initiation phase. All I wanted to do was stick up under a teacher and get a warm embrace. Post-toddler years, didn't understand money, couldn't tie my lace. Snot running from my nose cause I couldn't clean my face. Properly well sit down on the hard bench for endless classes. Teachers taught us phonics, reading, writing, mathematics, and after COVID, everybody needed glasses. Learning tables, definitely not fun. Creative writing, language arts, math for SCA. I glad that's over, cause I definitely born. Hours seemed like days. One class went on forever. Time flew like a cub on a mission. Wait, our time in RC really over?
Over? Wait, we're leaving already? These past 7 years, will tomorrow become a memory? Wait. Let me process this. No more brownies, no more guides, no more RC mashing up sports and thieving all the primary school prize. No more Cub Scouts, swimming, dance, panel, arts. Oh gosh, my poor little heart. No more Red Cross, 4-H, drumming, not even choir. Tell me all you're joking, because all you know, RC have co-curricular like no other.
OMG, somebody slap me. Wait, what's supposed to happen to all them set of co-curricular jersey? My mother buy all of them, and the IMTNT jersey can't fit me no more because I get too tall. When I started, the teachers looked like giants, but inch by inch, box lunch by box lunch. Though I big now, I still couldn't be defiant. Teachers' lessons on respect, love, charity, generosity would never be forgotten as we journey ahead to take back to Tobago as an honest and decent younger generation. There were days where we felt like we were harassing Jesus, saying endless prayers and learning biblical rules. We complain, but say what? Everybody knows a Catholic school.
Wait. It's how I will never forget the teachers, parents, coaches, basically the entire RSC staff. I will never forget each and every one of them. Those who buff, beat, lost patience, or always gave a good laugh. Teachers always encouraged us to do our best and understandably lost school when we tried to settle for any less. The class parties, birthdays, school events, and playing in the sun, my days at Scarborough RC, words cannot explain because they went beyond fun.
Well, I will remember my classmates and friends and all the times we had from beginning to end. The memories and bonds we created along the way. Friendships most hopefully we don't lose along the way. Look at us, up and leaving 7 years later. Imagine I can actually say Scarborough RC is my alma mater. No more brown shoe worries. No more chocolate frock. No matter where we go, our future will always be bright. High goals, standards, and ambitions will never be lost from our sight.
Girl, those words you say, you're frightening me.
For real, I feel like if I want to go back to standard 3. Yes, and stay a while longer in this lovely safe space. Wow.
Boy.
Nah, it's time to move on. We big now. We were well taught and we know how to wipe snot off we face. Thank you, Scarborough RC.
You will always remain a very happy place.
You see something fantastic? You see something fantastic? All right, so put your hands together for our valedictorians. Kelly Alfred, Kelly Ramsey, and Jashane Batiste. Hey, big up your sister. All right, and just for those who didn't know, let me just announce this, okay? So this year was the 40th year for staging the Tobago Library Services storytelling competition. You think you could guess who was the winner? Scarborough RC, represented by Kalia Alfred. Kalia, please stand. Stand and let the people see you. So well done, Scarborough RC. You may have your seat. All right. So parents, as you could see, you all have wonderful products, teachers, as you already know. I'm going to say something that you probably know already, but permit me to say it anyway, all right? The best thing that you can spend on these wonderful kids is time. Time. It's nothing better that you could spend on them. It's the most expensive commodity, right kids? Time. So make sure and utilize your time as well, right? Utilize every single split second of your time, okay? And with that being said, I want to also let you know that you have one chance at life, right? One life you have, right? Oh, yeah, cat. You have 9 lives or one? One. You have one life, right? So with the one life, you only have one chance to make a first impression. One chance to make a first impression. With that, you always put your best foot forward, no matter what it is, right? Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Remember, when the vultures surround you, don't what? Don't what? That's correct. You keep on shining bright, right? That's right. That's good. That's good. So we have some chairs. Musical chairs time? We play musical chairs? No, we actually at the point where we're going to have another cultural item, right? A while in all up. I'm sorry. Again, I'm in trouble. You know they say friends does lead you astray, but they don't bring you? When the teacher started discipline, all I go on, right? Bear that in mind. So at this point in time, we have a cultural item, and we'll have a drumology session. And leading them is Mr. Dominic Williams, a true professional. His prowess speaks volumes. Very, very humble, quiet individual, but is a master at the drum. So ladies and gentlemen, Scarborough RC Drumology Group. Check, 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 check. 1, 2. Give them a round of applause. Oh, they wanted to dance that time, right? And? Yeah? You wanted to move? Yeah, yeah. So you see, yeah, make some noise for them, man. Make some noise for them one more time. Yeah! Yeah. Yeah, we can make noise until the chairs move. So you can see that these boys and girls are very talented. Scarborough RC is very talented, right? Now, youth is on your side, right? To my graduates, youth is on your side. The thing about youth, or the most important thing about youth, is the energy and enthusiasm that you have when you're doing things. Yeah? You know how excited it does be when you're doing something new? Keep on doing that, right? Now remember the theme is gratitude precipitates blessings, right? So if you have a friend and they don't have a bag, and out of the goodness of your heart, you save your school money and you buy a bag for them, right? For your friend. Okay, wouldn't feel good, right? How would you feel if you bought the bag for your friend and you see them leave it knocking about the place, dragging by the dustbin? How would you feel? You'll feel hurt? Upset? Yes, it will feel like they're taking your gift for granted. Yeah? In that same vein, I want you to understand that you are here because of the Almighty, and He has instilled you with skills and talents. And as youths, with the enthusiasm that you have, you will fuel your drive and you would utilize your skills and talents. The best way to exalt God and give Him thanks is through the use of your skills and talents. That's your God-given gift. Father Tankaya, make sense? All right, you can speak for him. It makes sense, right? So parents, while I say that, please, I'm asking you, don't kill the enthusiasm. Please. Killing the enthusiasm of young, budding adults, young children is criminal. So don't kill the enthusiasm. Encourage them where you can encourage them, and guide them where you can guide them. All right? Thanks for my one friend that clapped for me. Thank you very much. I have a friend in the stands. So, all good now? Proceed. Are we doing dancing and thing again? More dancing? Are they singing for you again? Are they singing again? All right. We could pull it to sing again just now, right? In the meantime, let me call back your teachers to the stage. So I'm calling back on the Standard 5 teachers so that they could they have some special tokens and special awards to give out. So I'll invite the Standard 5 teachers back to the stage. Yeah?
So for this segment, we have gotten to where the air is rare, as we recognize those students who will be presented with special awards. Our first award is that of Most Improved Boy and Girl. And this award is being presented to students who the two students who expended the greatest effort to improve their academic performance. And this was evident not only in their in-house test marks, but also in their success at the SCA. For this award, I would like to ask our esteemed Secretary in the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Ms. Arisha Hackett, to join us on stage to present the award for Most Improved Boy and Most Improved Girl. And the male to whom this award is being presented is none other than Liam Charles. happy to name Miss Hasia Daniel as the most improved girl. Just a little while longer as we move on to the area of Best All-Round Boy and Best All-Round Girl. And this award is being presented to students who not only excel academically, but who also made invaluable contributions in the co-curricular, cultural, and sporting spheres of life at Scarborough School. Our Best All-Round Boy 2024 is Mr. Khalid Hector. Valedictorians, one of our Kalias, Miss Kalia Ramsey. Much, Ms. Hackett. We invite our beloved principal, Mrs. Anne-Marie Bishop James, to join us on stage, please.
Now we are going to place in the spotlight two students, one male and one female, who have excelled academically. They have shown a level of consistency in most, if not all, areas, whether it was mathematics, creative writing, or language arts. They have excelled. The male student who is being awarded for excelling academically is none other than Ethan Zaid Ali Samuel Devine. The female student who is being awarded for excelling academically is none other than Emily Williams.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bishop James. Can anyone here tell me what is the motto of Scarborough RC School? We can't hear you. So the student who is about to receive this award embodies perfectly that motto. Hard work has its reward. This is a young lady who would sometimes be absent, but who, when she came to school, would ensure that she asked the other students, what took place? What did you all do? May I see your book, please? And this student, can anyone guess who this student might be? Why you all say Ria? That student who embodies so perfectly our motto, hard work has its reward, is none other than Miss Ria Williams. Mrs. Giles Baines, could you please join us to present this award? Thank you very much, Mrs. Giles Baines. We invite Ms. Nikisha Reed to join us on stage for the presentation of this next award.
Is an award that is coming from outside of the Scarborough RC school walls. The area representative for Darrell Spring, WIM and Minority Leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris, chooses one student from each primary school within his electorate to receive the Hamilton Samuel Award of Hope and Perseverance. This award is given to the student who persevered with hope through their academic journey despite challenges they may have faced. This year, by recommendation of the school, Miss Ria Williams was chosen, and it is truly an honor to present this award to Miss Ria Williams.
Thank you very much, Ms. Reed. We now hand over to our colleague, Ms. Joan Papanet.
Thank you to my esteemed colleagues. At this time, I would like to call Ms. Emily Williams to take center stage to help us with this presentation. Emily, please come center stage. I will now call on my former student and your host for this evening, Mr. Rian McCool. Please come center stage. Thank you, my dear. Put your hands together as we welcome our host for this evening. I have a nickname for him, but I can't share it with you. It has to do with his hair. He is Tobago's Hess. That is my nickname for him. You're welcome, my darling. Mr. Johansi Grant, would you please come and grace us with your presence? Thank you. now call on our featured speaker to please join us at center stage. Thank you, Hansi. I would now like to call on Ms. Kashifa Legal. And this presentation is to our esteemed musical director. So what she's going to do is collect on his behalf, because I know he is somewhere above Mr. O.J. Richards. Could you wave to the crowd? And he's coming, yes. Thank you. Come on down. Mr. O.J. Richards. Talk about musical talent. Come on, you can do better than that. Put your hands together. Bring him on stage. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, blessings. Blessings. At this time, I am going to call some students. When I call the students, would a parent of the particular student please stand? Ethan Zaid Ali Samul Divines, please join me on stage. And Ethan's parent, please be on standby. I am now calling on Ariana Mitchell to please come and join me on stage. I am calling Demari Moore to please come and join me on stage. And Talia Paulson, please join me on stage. Will the parent of these children please join us on stage? Thank you very much. Put your hands together for these parents. It is good to give thanks. So I am looking for Mrs. Devines, Miss Tresvin Andrews, Miss Rhea Orr, Miss Tanisha Stewart. Join me on stage, please. Center stage is for you. So you stand in front, and your children will now present you with your awards this evening. Thank you very much. You go. Applause, applause, applause. Thank you. All right. These next set of children, please join me on stage. Alexandra Kumar, Zion Paul, Javier Woods, and Willow Karut. Please join me center stage. Thank you. And would the parents of these children join me on stage? Dr. Ryan Kumar, Mr. Keon Paul, Mr. Marcus Woods, and Miss Mrs. Kumar is here. Again, please come on the stage. Don't be afraid. Join your children. And will Miss Heather Carew please join me? Thank you so much. Again, the children are presenting to their parents. Without these parents, you know how it could be. We thank them very much. Yes, keep the applause going. Thank you. Time to get a picture. Pose. Parents, pose for the pictures. Pose for the camera. Smiles, please. Thank you all for being so gracious in accepting your awards as well. I now hand you over to Mr. McCool.
Thank you so very much to the Standard 5 teachers, and congratulations to all our recipients. A round of applause for them. I realized when I received my award, I didn't get a round of applause, but it's all right. I know all they clap for me, but them in the stands, I'm beefing with them right now. Let's go. I'm just joking. So a round of applause for all the parents and all the students here today, all the tutors, everybody who worked behind the scenes to make this fantastic moment. That probably was my first award from Scarborough. I lie. It's my second award from Scarborough RC. I got it when I did common entrance back in the days. All right, you're good? We still here? Everybody? Are you ready to sing? Not time yet. Hold on. Just hold it for them, right? They say we just save the best for what? Last. That's right. All right. So in the meantime, we're going to have another cultural item, and I believe it's a dance. Yeah. It is a dance, and we have a. Yes, so this next cultural item will be a dance done by none other than Miss Caricia Henry. So please welcome her on stage with a rousing round of applause. Thank you so very much, Miss Henry. And Miss Henry is also a past student of Scarborough RC. Big round of applause for that. Woo! So we feeling good, right? No, we're not feeling good. We feeling? That's right. That's right. That's right. Me? No, Miss Paponet only said I look like Kes. I don't have the talents of Kes. Yeah, I look like. I can't sing. No, I sang for my graduation when I was graduating like you all. They never called me back. Let me just put it that way. All right? Okay, moving on, right? We can move on? Yeah. All right. So now, as I always say, it takes a village to raise a child. These are some of the foundations, morals, and values that will transcend the test of time. No matter what people come and say, no matter what they bring on social media, no matter whatever you see on Roblox or Free Fire, I know let us play, you know. I know. Why you know about Free Fire? Anyway.
Of Scarborough RC. And to take the MC a little point above, I have 3 children and they all are products of Scarborough RC. So I know this afternoon we were saying a lot of congratulations and well wishes to the graduates, and I would like to continue in that sentiment and say congratulations to you all, class of graduates of 2024. All the best to you as your journey now begin. However, I would want to shift a little bit before I go into my remarks, which would be a short journey from Standard 3 to Standard 5 as a parent with my son. I would like to ask 5 ladies to stand before us so that we can acknowledge them. I would like to call on Miss Louisa Charles, Miss Michelle Joseph. Could I have you present, please? Miss Joan Papanet. Miss Kyan Thomas and Miss Abigail Woods. Where are my teachers? Oh, they come. Oh, God. So they're on their way. But we know this afternoon, just like all the days in school, these teachers have been working tirelessly. And I think, as one of the speakers would have said earlier, this may be the last opportunity that we have where all of us are here together to be able to say to them, thank you. So let's put our hands together now and say thank you to our Scarborough RC teachers. So, Miss, on behalf of the parents of the graduating class, we wish to say thanks for all that you have done for our kids, taking them through from Standard 3 to Standard 5. We thank you. As we, as parents, would know that teachers does more than just teaching at school. These teachers were more than teachers, as I said. They were parents to our children because our children are with them for 7 or 8 hours during the day. They operate as doctors because when there's injury, they are the one that has to be the first attendant. They even operate as lawyers because when the arguments start, somebody has to intervene and make peace. And of course, we know sometimes they act as police to part the fights. So all in all, thank you to the teachers for the work that they would have done for the last 3 years with our kids. So as I reflect on the different standards, starting from Standard 3. Standard 3 was 2021 to 2022. And we know at that time we were now coming out of COVID, so we started off with online classes. And it was commendable to know that these teachers never missed a class. And they give the venom and all the enthusiasm in these online classes, just as if it was physical classes. And I want you all to commend them for that. Not only did our children learn during that time, but our kids was able to use a phone, take a picture, and upload it to a Google Classroom better than some of us could do right now. And that was really skillful. We returned to physical school, and it was very much unprecedented because our students had to wear face masks. Some of us had to get letters from doctors to say that our child had asthma or sinus so that they are not put out of the school. Face masks became a part of the school uniform. In Standard 3, they were still learning different English language rules, new mathematics techniques. So as parents, we were not worried about SEA because it seemed so far away. What was most comforting, though, is to learn that the teachers that we had in Standard 3 was going to be the teachers that are going to take our kids right through to Standard 5. And that was comforting because if there were any gaps in the learning, it could be picked up very quickly and very easily and treated within a quick space of time. Fast forward to Standard 4, they were still learning in their first term, so there were no worries. Second term came, and the worries start, because SEA was 1 year away. There were regular class meetings that were called, and those meetings was to keep us as parents calm. And they keep saying to us, let us trust the process. Some of our concerns were, do we have time to complete the syllabus? Is the monthly course of the classes at Bishop's worth it? Them teachers know what they're doing. Once again, class meetings were called and all these concerns were addressed and put to rest. Personally, I start seeing improvements in my son, and yes, as a parent, we had to work with our children as well and not leave all the work to the teachers because they also have their own stress, their own families to treat with. But all in all, it was good. Standard 5, purchasing of past papers. More spending again. But it was all good. It's an investment. First term started, but no past paperwork until around November. And as parents, we are now concerned that time is closely approaching. Could our kids be able to complete this SEA paper in time? Once again, class meetings were held and our concerns were put to rest. Thereafter, it was past paper almost every day. All on the weekends, there were past paper to be done. Everywhere in my house, there were stacks of past paper that were done. The day before exam, we received a wonderful service from Father Tankai. Then the day finally came, and it was all up to them. All the hard work, all the late nights will now be tested. And we as parents waited with bated breath just to find out how it was. Or to say, thank God, it's finally over. They had ice cream, fried chicken, and all the goodies that they could receive after the exam. Fast forward to today, graduation day, another expense, but it's all good. I want to end by saying thanks again to our RC teachers and congratulations to the graduates. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Batiste. Give him another round of applause. You know, one of the very involved and active parents. And another round of applause as our daddy as well, too, because somehow society tends to say the daddies don't be involved, but thanks for representing Mr. Batiste. All right? Big up. All good? All ready to sing? That's what we're talking about. So before they reach that point, right, you're going to have, let me just tell you one more thing to take away. Just one more. One simple thing. If anybody tell you to be the best that you could be, that is pretty okay advice, but I'll give you better advice. Try always to be better than the best. Right? Always try to be better than the best. Because sometimes when you aim to be the best, you plateau and you stop. We have any runners inside there? I know we had some athletes, yeah? So even though you come first and you still have to train harder to run better next time, because you never really be the best, you always be better. So always be better than the best, right? Never settle to be the best and stop. Always keep pushing yourself, okay? Remember, greatness resides where most people are afraid to venture. And when the vultures surround you, don't? Die. When the vultures surround you, don't? Right, keep on living, keep on exalting the Almighty in all ways. Gratitude precipitates blessings. Keep on doing that and blessings will keep on showering at your feet. Okay? All right. Parents, that make sense, eh? Parents? The crickets all here in front of the parents, eh? Crickets, right? All right. Anyway, I will invite back to the stage Miss Joan Papanet as she brings the curtain down with the vote of thanks, and then we'd have the creme de la creme, where we end in spectacular style. So, please welcome back Miss Joan Papanet.
Thank you, darlings. Good evening to all. It has been a wonderful evening thus far. Isn't that so? Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 18 says, "In all circumstances give thanks, for this is the will of God for you in Christ Jesus." At this time, I am going to thank several persons, so I am asking you kindly to hold your applause until I have accomplished that feat. Thank you, Father Leslie Tankai, for your opening words of prayer. We thank those who would have brought greetings from the various organizations, our stakeholders, Dr. Garcia, Ms. Roxanne Haling, Mr. Braden Roberts. We thank them in their absence. We thank them for gracing us with their presence today. To our wonderful speechifiers, we thank you for sharing with us a small piece of our rich cultural heritage. To our esteemed principal, Mrs. Anne-Marie Bishop James, thank you for your wisdom, advice, and short insight about gratitude and blessings. God will make a way when there seems to be no way. This gives us hope. Thank you, Ms. Charles, for introducing our featured speaker today and letting us know a little bit more about her. Mrs. Afia Giles Baines, our featured speaker, we thank you for engaging our students and for having such an interactive session with our graduates. Thank you. And as you said, trust God and keep leveling up. To our young panelists, also past students of our beloved Scarborough School, we thank you and we thank God for your talent and our national instrument. To our Secretary of the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Ms. Zorisha Hackett, we thank her in her absence for being with us. I know it took a lot of tweaking for her to be here with us this afternoon. Ms. Caricia Henry, we thank you for that dance. God bless you and your talent. Mr. James Batiste, thank you for your parents' remarks. Thank you to our many sponsors, without whom today would not have been the success that it has been thus far. Parents, well-wishers, friends, family, and our viewing audience, thank you for sharing your children with us. To the entire Scarborough RC staff, thank you for your tireless support. To our host, thank you, thank you. We are ever grateful. To our graduates, thank you for being such well-mannered children today. We love you, and we thank you for being you. We thank you. Now it's time to put your hands together and give a lusty round of applause to all the people whom I have mentioned previously. At this time, I would like to make one house announcement. There is to be no eating, absolutely no eating in the main hall. Therefore, your refreshment will be served to you parents as you vacate the venue and leave our precious gems with us to continue our program with them. I thank you.
Another round of applause for Ms. Papanet and for everybody. Now, yeah, it's about that time. It's about that time, eh? It's about that time. So, Ms. Papanet, give thanks. I want you to also in your own timing, you give thanks to your teachers. It's a blessing that you all had those type of teachers. When you move on to secondary school, it may not be the same, all right? So don't expect that. Make sure and apply yourself and do the work, right? All right, so I know I had to go and eat all the fancy dinner. I wasn't a plus one, but that's okay. So at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give the loudest round of applause as I introduce back on stage the graduating class of 2024 as they perform for you. Their Recessional song. Louder than that. Okay, so they will stay by the chairs. The chair is now the stage.
Can you feel the love that's in the air? Well, if you feel it, let me hear you say, dancing, moving, grooving everywhere. Well, if you feel it, let me hear you say, na na, na 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 na, na 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 na. Na 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 na, eh na na, na 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 na, na na na, na na na, eh na na, na na na, na na na, na na na, eh.
For the brands and the bling and the expensive thing, oh no. Never had the money, never had nice living. And teacher said, and I said, teacher, you know I work hard for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the graduating class of 2024. So please encourage them as they make their way out with this recessional. And I'm going to ask and all the parents and guardians to remain seated in the auditorium as our students factor out. And thank you all so very much. You all have been a great and wonderful audience. And keep protecting and molding and investing and shaping those beautiful gems that you have in front of you. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, the graduating class. So, I'm Ryan McCool, I was here. When you don't see me, don't look for me. Please reach home to your respective destinations safely. Thank you all so very much. And congratulations to all of you again. Wonderful.